All right, we are live. It is the first Cleveland Cavaliers video collaboration of the 2024-2025 season, and we are taking on the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern at Rocket Mortgage FieldHouse. So to help me preview this matchup, I've got TGK in with me. TGK, welcome to the show.
What's going on, Max? Appreciate you bringing me on, man. Ready to talk some Mavs versus Cavs, man. Ready to talk about it.
And we did root for you guys in the 2011 NBA Finals. I think our whole thing was Cavs for Mavs or something.
I think I remember that. I think there was a lot of like teams around the league that was rooting for the Mavericks that year. I do remember that. And I can tell you, I was rooting like hell for y'all in 2016. I wanted y'all to have that 3-1 comeback, and I enjoyed it as a Mavs fan. So I could only imagine how it was for y'all and seeing that whole comeback for y'all, man.
Yeah, but this is our first time collabing. So how did you get to be a Mavericks fan?
Oh man, we go way back. So I am from Dallas, right? Dallas,
Okay.
Texas, born and raised. Grew up, whole family loved the Cowboys and the Rangers and things of that sort. But I don't ever remember those teams ever having success as I was growing up, right? And I saw Dirk in '99, and then we started, getting better little by little, and I always associated Dallas with the Mavericks as like the most successful team because they were the team of the 2000s and the 2010s and so on and so forth. I love basketball as a sport. That's my first love. And so I got associated with basketball early, fell in love with my team, fell in love with my players, fell in love with the game itself. And I was just a Mavericks fan ever since, man. And they've given me the most heartbreaks. They've given me the most success stories. They've given me everything, man. The other teams, for the most part, have been heartbreaks, except the Rangers finally got over the hump. But yeah, man. So just the Mavericks have been the team of the city, in my estimation, and my overall vibes. And it's just I'm a Mavs fan for life, as they say.
Yeah.
If you ever hear MFFL, that's Mavs fan for life, and that's kind of what we do here.
Since I joined your Discord server, I somehow got hit with that tag, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a Cavs fan. But that's how you and I connected. I stumbled across one of your videos, and I saw there was a link for your Discord server, and I'm like, I'm just gonna jump in there, and well, we connected from there. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, you guys are the defending Western Conference champions, but I don't think this is the season you guys pictured because Luka is injured, Kleba is injured, if I remember correctly, Derek Lively is injured. You're 9th in the West at 26-23. You just lost to the Detroit Pistons in your last game where Kate Cunningham went off for over 30 points.
Yep.
Like, what are your thoughts so far on?
Man, it's an unfortunate set of circumstances for the Dallas Mavericks. Man, we came into the season, feeling like we've had one of the best off seasons that we've had in a long time.
Sure.
When you look at the roster up and down, it is just a well-crafted roster by Nico Harrison. We all had the hype. We all had the feeling like, when you lose a championship, there's this sudden, like, we got to get back and we got to go win. And as a Mavs fan, we all felt that. We were all ready for the season coming up. And at a point, sometime after the start of the season, we went 12-2 on a 12-2 stretch. We were like one of the best teams from advanced analytical perspective. And we were just rolling. In half of those games, we were without Luka. Luka's been battling injuries all year. And we're like, we have found our footing and we are going. And then the injury bug, the sickness bug, the illness bug, every kind of bug has hit the Dallas Mavericks. And we are just treading above water right now. That is really the situation we're in. It's pretty dire. I will say it is dire. Other Mavs fans will tell you to relax. I'm like, some people say half glass full, half glass empty. I'm just half glass right now. I don't know where I'm going, but it's tough right now because sometimes you'll get some wins and then you'll get some losses, And then you look at the schedule, and it doesn't look good right now. But the goal for us, I think, in general, for all of the Mavericks fans, and myself included, is stay at 500 or above until Luka returns. Luka is just that kind of guy, right? Luka is what I call him, the greatest equalizer that has ever stepped foot in the NBA court. You could have 3 stars on the opposite team, and he will void them out, and it comes down to the rest of the team. But for the season, it's been a nightmare season, Max. It really has been, man. Like, because we wanted like a top 2 seed. We had the team. We have the team. We literally do have the team to be a top seed, and it's not going for us this year, unfortunately. And we're gonna have to make a after the All-Star break kind of run like we have done over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's definitely what you did last year to get to the position you were in. I will say this: outside of our series against Orlando, my favorite playoff series was your second round matchup against Oklahoma City. I loved that matchup. But when I look at us, did I expect us to jump up this much? To be 39-9 at the start of February? Absolutely not. Like, I was expecting us to be somewhere around where we were last year, be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. But I wasn't just going to dismiss Boston. They're obviously the defending NBA champions. They still have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday. We've got them on Tuesday, actually, following our matchup. So it's kind of interesting how the schedule worked out, that we get the Western Conference champions on Sunday and then the the NBA champions on Tuesday, both at home. But nonetheless, though, I was not expecting this type of jump from the Cavs. Because along with Boston, you've got New York, who made all their changes over the offseason. Trading for Karl Anthony Towns, trading for Mikal Bridges, re-signing OG Anunoby. And we lost to the Knicks 2 years ago in the first round of the playoffs. So, and all offseason and throughout the season, my biggest issue with the Cavs, despite, our strong start, when you guys are healthy, you have a solid player at that 3 position in PJ Washington, or it's Klay Thompson. I don't remember which one of them plays the 3, but I know it's one of them, right?
Klay plays the 3.
Okay. So it's Klay. But I know PJ at times can play the 3, correct?
Yeah, he's versatile. He can play. There's this joke by I forget. I think it's K Choice that does it. It's someone else. But there's like this joke that there's a player that could guard 1 through 6, right? But I think PJ could guard like your 2 through 5 kind of deal. So he's very versatile, man. He's versatile. He could guard 1 through 5. Actually, yeah. PJ Washington is that kind of player. He could actually guard 1 through 5. Depending on the style of player that he's going up against. But,
right, yeah. So, but my point in asking you that is, like, I look at us, and I feel like within our starting lineup, we've got, obviously, point guard and shooting guard on lockdown with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And I like our power forward center duo of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Evan Mobley has taken a gigantic step forward this season. But it's that small forward position where I'm just not so sure. Like, we've had a Isaac Okoro in there at times, but he's injured right now. We've had Dean Wade in there at times, but he's injured. Right now we have Max Strus in there. You're very familiar with Max Strus.
Unfortunately, yes.
Because he's the one who hit that 59
half-court shot.
Yep, to beat you last year. But I just, I look at, teams like you guys, Denver, Boston, New York, just to name Indiana, Orlando. I look at all those teams, and they all have players at the starting small forward that you can depend on to get you 20 plus points a game.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
I know, right? Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. But that's what concerns me most about the Cavs is I just don't know about that small forward position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking at your roster, Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, he's hurt. What, George Niang, he's another guy that you got.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, none of them are like standout, type of players, but they're good role players. And when you got a team like when you got Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Mobley and Garrett Allen or Jared Allen, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I mean, I think at some point you got a good roster. 4 out of your 5, like you're good. Like I think the majority of the NBA would love to have that kind of situation, right? For us, you look at us when we are healthy, because right now we're not healthy.
Right.
We're playing Kyrie, Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a vet minimum. Then we have Klay, who it seems like we still don't know how to run plays for Klay Thompson for some reason. Like we just if you watch our games, the one game against New Orleans, no, not New Orleans, Washington, that was like that was an outlier. We actually gave him shots. Other than that, it's been hit or miss. Then you got PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford's been our backup all year, and he's playing like a man possessed. So in a way, we kind of got 4 players as well still, even without Luka. But again, y'all have like a well balanced team. Y'all have like a traditional starting 5 as opposed to us, right? Our point guard is taller than our 2 guard, right? You got Luka at 6'7", 6'8", and then you got Kyrie at 6'2", and then your 3 guard is 6'5". So your point guard's taller than your 2s and 3s, and he's as tall as your 4. So y'all have a more traditional lineup. I think it's how would I say, to run plays, to run game plans. It's more like a standard type of NBA team as opposed to the Mavericks. We have a unique situation with a unique player, and to build around such a unique talent like that, you're having to change different roles and adjust to it. So I think y'all in a great situation, man. Y'all got role players though, and even though y'all haven't had any injuries all year, going 39-9 is pretty damn good. And I know, what did y'all start the season, like 20-0, 21-0 or something like that?
I think we were 15-0 before we lost our first game against Boston.
Oh yeah, in the in season the NBA Cup game.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Mavericks, I don't know if you remember this. I think it was back in 2003, 2004. The Mavericks started the year 14-0, and I think it's been a while since that happened. And I think y'all were the team to finally do that since the Mavericks went 14-0, and y'all started the season 14-0.
I still remember back in, what was it? Yeah, 2006. You guys got all the way to the finals against Miami.
Don't remind me of that.
And then you follow it up next year by getting the best record in the NBA, and then you got Baron Davis.
Yep. Got Baron Davis, got Donnie Nelson, we got mauled in the first round.
Golden State. So we haven't had that happen to us, but trust me, we've had our heartbreaks over the years. I can assure you of that. 2008 against Boston, 2010 against Boston, 2009 against Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the matchup, we're trying to sweep you this regular season because we beat you earlier this season in Dallas. But when I look at this matchup, it'll be interesting to see how we guard you, knowing that you still have Kyrie and Klay, but Luka's not there. So do we put Garland on Kyrie and have Donovan Mitchell guard Spencer Dinwiddie, or do we have Garland guard Kyrie and then Donovan play Dinwiddie, and who matches up with Klay Thompson? Like, you're still a tough team to defend, even though you're without Luka and you're without Derek Lively.
Yeah, here's what I'll tell you, Max. I think the tough part about the the Mavericks right now, it's like we have a pretty good starting lineup. Our starting five's been doing pretty good actually. Like for the most part, over the last uh, said games, they've been beating like the starting lineups of other teams. It's just when you get to the benches and things of that sort is where we've been having our issues because again we had to pick up a G League center to be our new backup center because we don't have someone good enough. So as far as like Mitchell and Garland guarding Kyrie or Dinwiddie or whatever the case may be, I think those things are gonna even out over a course of a game because as you could tell, Cade Cunningham had 40 yesterday, and Kyrie had 28 on pretty poor efficiency. Right now, Kyrie's been on a downswing efficiency wise right now over the last couple of games. So it's going to come down to efficiency on offensively. Is how is Kyrie playing? Can he be able to keep up and try to negate a Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell? Spencer Dinwiddie, I wouldn't worry too much because they're trying to reinstall Mr. Dante Exum into the fold. So his minutes might be impacted a little bit. His his ability to score is probably going to be reduced a little bit. But also Spencer could have a game where he just starts making threes out of nowhere, right? So you have a bit of a situation where our players could have a good game, or they could have one of those inefficient nightings that we've been having here a couple of times over the last couple of games. But I think in general, y'all have the better duo right now when it comes to Kyrie and Spencer versus Garland and Mitchell for sure.
Yeah. By the way, it says Dwight Powell is a game time decision, so he might be available for you tomorrow. Luka, it says, is going to be back the next game. So when you play, I believe it's in Philadelphia. And so he should be ready for your game on Thursday when you have the finals rematch in Boston.
Luka's coming back? Hold on.
It says on February 4th.
Let me see. That's that'd be news for me. That'd be news for us. All of us Mavs fans, we have not heard of that. That's pretty cool.
I'm looking on the ESPN app and it says estimated return date for Luka is February 4th. Huh. So, hey, I'm cool. Hey, I'm cool with that. I don't want to go against him.
Yeah, say.
But you were just talking about how Kyrie has been off of his game a little bit. I feel like when he comes back to Cleveland, he does get that extra motivation. So I would expect him to be on his game tomorrow because he seems to love playing in Cleveland, even though it's been many years since the breakup and everything with him and LeBron. It seems like he finds that second gear, if you will. And maybe that's just because he's back at Rocket Mortgage FieldHouse and he's comfortable with the environment and all that.
Yeah, and I think there's a big Slovenia base over there as well. So whenever he's playing in front of his Slovenia fans,
No, I was talking about Kyrie, not Luka.
Oh, because we were talking about Kyrie. No, well, with Kyrie, I don't think he's gonna. Sometimes when these players already play their first game against their old teams, I don't know if they get up again to play against their old team. Like I've seen certain situations where, like, do you think LeBron always goes to Cleveland and he shows out, or has there been a couple of duds lately where he goes to Cleveland and he doesn't have that great of a game?
As far as I can remember, he usually puts on a show when he comes here, whether it's been with Miami or with the Lakers. And with Kyrie, it's been weird because when we traded him to Boston, we were going to play a video tribute for him, but because the crowd was so viscerally against him, we didn't. And he actually didn't get a video tribute until he played with the Mavericks here in Cleveland last year. Interestingly,
really?
Yeah. Even though
that's odd.
Even though he's been with Boston and Brooklyn And now with Dallas, yeah, he didn't get that tribute until he was with Dallas, which is interesting. But on the
That is
subject of
interesting.
you, you were mentioning Luka. I'll tell you what, when they are healthy, you guys have a dynamic backcourt duo of your own. Because I mean, I saw what you guys were doing in the playoffs last year. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and mid once you made that trade, it took them a little bit to figure out how to play with one another. But once it clicked, oh man, did
Mm-hmm.
it click. But I'll tell
Yep.
you what really made the difference for you guys was trading for PJ Washington and trading for Daniel Gafford. I saw those
Oh
trades.
yeah.
I was very confused. I'm like, wait, what is Dallas doing? Like, it, I, I don't know if you had that same reaction, but I just saw that. I'm like, I don't get it.
Oh, you didn't get the trades. Oh well, I could explain it to you. So,
It was just
Grant.
it was just confusing to me because I'm not a Mavericks fan. So
Right,
I
right,
was
right,
like,
right. Yeah. So at the time we had Grant Williams as our four slash backup five, and it was horrible because even Dwight Powell when he last year he just anytime Derek Lively was not on the court, which at times it was often either due to injuries or when he play enough minutes, we would get in a situation where it was just tough, man. We couldn't get boards, couldn't get nothing, no rim protection, anything of that sort. So then when we made the trade for PJ Washington, it was really because Grant Williams was just playing bad. He was very inefficient. His three ball was not great. It was in the high 20s, probably mid 20s percentage wise. And then the Daniel Gafford move was really to solidify a backup big for Derek Lively, which he ended up becoming a starter and allowed Derek Lively to be a rookie, right, and play a backup role because we were putting quite a bit of pressure on Derek Lively early on. So those trades were extremely vital for us, extremely vital. And at that time, we had Derrick Jones Jr. on the bench as well. So then it took like a 6 game losing streak for us to lock in and finally start him. And then that's when everything started meshing. When you had Kyrie, Luca, DJJ, PJ, and Daniel Gafford in that starting lineup,
yeah.
it was big.
I know you lost Derrick Jones Jr. this offseason, if I remember correctly, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you lost a few pieces from last year's team. Do you feel like that's what's like caused the decline, or is it more so like the injuries and all that?
Early on, and this is like you'll probably only get this from like Mavs fans and not some general media head. So for us Mavs fans, or for me specifically, I could tell you me, but most Mavs fans know this as well. Early on, Luca was pretty inefficient, and that was kind of causing some issues because there was a lot that was left on the table from his efficiency perspective. But we were still able to get some wins. We were getting quite a few losses here and there. But then once Lucas started figuring that out, he took like a bit of a little break due to I think it was like a what was it? I think it was like a wrist injury. And then the Mavericks started playing better without him for some reason, right? And this probably triggers some people. But then when Luca came back from his wrist injury, everything was nice, everything was great. We were flowing. And then Luca goes out with the calf, and then Najee Marshall gets hit with an illness, and we go to Miami, and Jimmy Butler just got the whole team sick. And then from that point, we were at this high point. We play Miami, everyone gets sick, injuries start piling up, and then that's when everything started going downhill a little bit. So again, right now is we're just trying to stay above water, man. We're trying to find a float. It's like the Titanic, man. We're just trying to find a float,
Yeah,
to tell Jack to hold on, and we'll get saved eventually by Luca.
yeah. I mean, you're ninth in the West right now, so you would be in the playing tournament. But I mean, I look at the West. Let me double check. In order
Oh yeah,
to
then
actually
great
make,
point by Nancy. We did have a couple suspensions over some bogus
yeah.
calls in Phoenix. Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, in order for you guys to make the playoffs, you would have to jump Phoenix, Minnesota, and the Clippers just to get the 6th seed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
and it's an uphill battle. It's gonna be an uphill battle, and I know, and that's how would I
which
say,
we
like
don't
that's
have to deal with. Just saying.
yeah, Y'all don't. Y'all don't have to do it. Yeah, y'all are definitely gonna either finish with that. Y'all probably gonna finish with that first seed, man.
We
That
just
must be
have to
nice.
hold off Boston.
Yeah,
So
yeah. For us, we're gonna have one of those second half miracle runs, and uh, ideally we don't want to be a play-in team, but if we are a play-in team and OKC is first seed, we would love to be 8th seed, fully healthy. I'll
yes,
tell you that much.
that would be a great matchup again. Because, like I said, outside of our first round series against Orlando, that was my favorite series of the playoffs last year.
Mm.
Especially game 6 between the Thunder and Mavericks in Dallas. I watched that game and I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yo, Max, I did a vlog of that. I was at that game and I vlogged that game. I highly recommend you go watch it. It captures the intensity of playoff basketball to the T, man.
I will try and find that. So I knew you. I had a feeling you guys were going to play on Christmas, and I'm like, please let it be against Oklahoma City, please.
I know, bro. The NBA fumbled. The NBA
Okay,
messed that up so bad, man.
I'm big time. I'm like, I want to play Boston. I want to play I'm like, can we get a rematch of us against Orlando on Christmas? Nah, we
Mm-mm.
we didn't even play on Christmas. I don't get it. Um, but you talked about it. We don't have to deal with the same uphill battle you're dealing with because we shot out to this 39-9 record, which I still don't know how we did it. Maybe it's as simple as JB Bickerstaff wasn't coaching us to our full potential. And Kenny Atkinson has unlocked something with us offensively. Um, Granted, our defense has been questionable at times because it feels like almost every game is like 139 to 122 or 124 to 117, something like that. And I get it. That's partially because, the NBA is like usually these high scoring games and whatnot. But like, I don't think we can keep winning games doing 124 to 117
Mm.
type of thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I mean, right now y'all are ranked the eighth best defense in the league right now, and y'all are first in offense. Yeah,
Yes.
that's how you know y'all are a well ran machine over there. And then y'all have the second best plus net rating at 9.8, right under OKC. So I see what you're getting at. You're looking at, you're trying to find the little flaws, right, that could help the team be even better. But just by looking at that net rating, man, y'all are obliterating teams for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think y'all are fine. I mean,
Yeah.
well, what's one thing you think y'all need to fix on your team? Like if you were to make a trade,
Well, like I said earlier, I don't
the
feel
small
like,
forward.
yeah, it's the small forward. So I'd like to get Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets if we can make
Mm.
that happen. I've also been asking for Kyle Kuzma from the Washington Wizards.
Ooh, you don't want to ask for that. You don't want to ask for that. He's damaged goods, man. He is
Uh,
damaged goods. He is done. He is like so. Initially, the Mavericks were going to trade for him instead of PJ, and the Washington Wizards gave him the veto power. They're like, hey, do you want to go to Dallas or whatever the case may be? And he decided not to go because he wanted to stay with Washington to build with them for some reason. And what he ended up doing is saying that he didn't feel like the Mavericks were championship ready, and then the Mavericks made the finals, right? Uh, but then you go back and look at if you look at Kuzma's stats this year, you do not want to touch them. Cam Johnson is for sure the better choice. I don't know if you'd be able to get him. I don't know. I don't know what y'all have on your roster if y'all got picks or whatever the case may be. But Cam Johnson for sure, definitely the
we
better
might.
choice.
I mean, we might if we want to get Cam Johnson, we might have to give up like Levert or or like somebody like Jalen Tyson, our first round pick from last year, which I do understand. But Levert has been really good for us off the bench, and
Mm,
Tyson hasn't gotten a lot of minutes. But when like the other night, he got I think he played like 13 minutes or whatever against Atlanta, and he got 13 points. Like, sure, those aren't great numbers, but he doesn't have a big role on our team. So, but he has a bigger role right now because Dean Wade is out, LeVert has been out, Okoro is out right now.
Then that's what's impacting your defense, man. Because Okoro is a solid defender.
Yeah, but my biggest problem with Okoro is when he's been our starting small forward, I'm like, you're going up against guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Giannis, Chris Middleton, what New York can throw at you. Milwaukee, I already mentioned Milwaukee, Denver, you guys, and countless other teams. And I'm like, Okoro, I'm not saying you need to be an all-star and go get me 30 points a game, but can you at least get me 10? You know, because there are some games he gives me like 2 or 6 or sometimes 0. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, I need you to be able to get 10 plus points a game.
Right.
And like that's my biggest concern when it comes to like our starting small forward is, again, we're going against Tatum, Brown, Giannis, Middleton. I know Middleton isn't what he once was, but I'll still include him for this. Josh Hart, OG Anunoby in New York, Michael Porter Jr. in Denver, PJ Washington and Klay Thompson for you guys, the Williams boys in SGA for Oklahoma City. You get my point.
Yeah.
Like, that's what concerns me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know enough of y'all's roster and financial situation, but if you're looking for a 3, I don't know. I would probably call Portland and see what they think about Jeremy Grant. I like Jeremy Grant a lot. I've been a big advocate of him, but apparently he's been having a down season.
I like this comment. Oh, so they do have their own Maxi Cleveland.
I wish I could play my sound effects. No,
Sorry.
Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. That is funny.
I like this question. At Unger to the Max, which Cavs player impressed you the most this season? I would definitely say Evan Mobley because, you know, people have said he could be a Giannis type player, and it seemed like he was making steps toward that, but then it felt like last season he kind of regressed. And now this season he's shooting the 3-pointer at a high mark. I don't remember his exact percentage off the top of my head, but he's being aggressive. Him and I think it's him and Mitchell in that pick and roll game has been awesome. What I find interesting with our team is we kind of have these, when Mitchell and Mobley are off the floor, Garland and Allen stay on the floor. It's like they kind of trade off. So
yeah, stagger the minutes.
Yeah. And that was part of our issue too last season was we just couldn't get Mitchell and Garland to gel together. Like we had to stagger their minutes, and now this season it seems to be clicking.
And that's what it takes sometimes, man. It takes an off season. It takes time. You gotta learn how to play with your running mates when they've been running the shows. Especially like Garland, he's been running that show for a while, and you know you bring in a player that ran his own show, so it's just kind of like the Kyrie and Luka thing that you just gotta find a way for them to mesh, man. You gotta let them figure it out too.
Yeah, I agree with you on that all day. Nancy's just says TGK, just FYI, the guy from Cleveland is correct. It matters to Kyrie. He does get up to play in Cleveland. He has said himself he wasn't happy when they lost there last year.
All right. Hey, you know, because I don't know, maybe it's just me. Like, I just, it's not all the time when, like, players that play their former team, like, have, like, this standout game. And maybe they try harder and they perform worse. That could be a thing. But for Kyrie, I hope it is a good thing for us because we need him to be the Kyrie that we know he could be. Especially shooting 3 for 10 from 3 last night wasn't ideal. 9 for 23 from the field. It was pretty rough, but Hopefully he can get cooking tomorrow in Cleveland.
Yeah. By the way, Tyson in 17 minutes, he had 15 points. So I'll take that. Like I said, he's not going to have a big role on this team right now because, when you have Mobley, Allen, Garland, Mitchell, Niang, Jerome, and Merrill, there's not going to be a lot of space for you minutes-wise.
So what I'm understanding is y'all just need a little bit more defense, but y'all also need to get healthy, and then to see what y'all got. Y'all probably don't need to trade either. Just like I don't think the Mavericks need to trade. The Mavericks just need to get healthy.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be good to go. I think same thing with y'all. Y'all are 39-9 for a reason, man. Y'all got the best offense in the league. Y'all got a top 10 defense. Whenever you got those two things going for you, you're pretty good. It just comes down to, is Jared Allen going to play in the playoffs, right? Or is he going to be like, nah, I don't want to play,
Oh,
that's the big concern for me right there for y'all.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that whole
That was crazy.
Here. That was quite annoying because I think if we had been fully healthy, I don't know if we would have beaten the Celtics in the second round, but I think we could have given them more of a fight than we did.
Y'all could have made a series out of it. Y'all got close one game, I think.
Yeah.
Y'all got really close, but
we beat them one game 2 in Boston. And we kept the other games close for the most part. I thought you guys were going to make more of a series of it against them in the finals last year. You had it in game 3.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, man. I mean, game 1, it was close too. And then we had the bogus call against PJ where they didn't call the push in the back and things of that sort. There was a lot of missed calls in that series. Not to make it about the rest, but, it's just reality of the world. But, yeah, Luka crashing out on game 3 was not a great look. And then Brian Windhorst, took liberties on Luka after the game. But, yeah, man, I was hopeful. I was hopeful we were able to repeat everything we did game 4 and do our own little 3-1 comeback. But, yeah, we couldn't do it.
Yeah. But Jason Kidd has been your head coach now for a few years. I can't remember exactly how long.
Here we go. We're gonna talk Jason Kidd now.
No.
You're good. You're good. It's just like it's a hot topic in Dallas in a way.
Really? Because it seems like he's been
either people love him or they want to get rid of him. If he wins a good game, they love him. If he makes bad decisions the next game, they're like, oh, it's Jason Kidd again. Like it's what's it called? Topsy-turvy. I don't know the phrase, or it's man. It's up and down with Jason Kidd and the fan base for sure.
Okay. I've liked him as your head coach. I think he's done a really good job. I mean, he led you to the finals last year. And I mean,
I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, Max. I know it does. It's just there, and then I'm gonna give it to you from different perspectives, right? Jason Kidd is a beneficiary.
Love
yeah, love hate for sure. Jason Kidd is a beneficiary of having a generational star talent like Luka, right?
And Kyrie.
And now Kyrie, and then now we have the team we have now. But you look at Orlando, you see what Jamal Mosley is doing with the lack of talent when they were all injured and still able to find ways to win. We had that guy in our organization before Jason Kidd got hired, and there was a big push for Jamal Mosley to be our head coach. And then, Rick Carlisle said, no, you're going to get Jason Kidd, and that was the end of it. But there's a fan base out here that prefer Jamal Mosley, that do not like Jason Kidd, that do not think Jason Kidd impacts winning. But I think the really good things about Jason Kidd, Max, is that the players love him, the players respect him, and the players want to play for him. And he has this players friendly mentality, right? That if we lose, like, hey, it's not the end of the world. Nobody died. Write some positive-ish, things of that sort. He's always like trying to keep himself even keeled. He'll throw players under the bus because he likes to be direct. It's weird. It's the dichotomy of it all, right? I've been waiting to use that word. It's the dichotomy of it all with Mr. Jason Kidd. So it's hot and cold. It's a love and hate relationship. It's weird, man. It's weird for sure.
Yeah. We definitely wanted to get rid of JB Bickerstaff, even though we won a playoff series for the first time without LeBron, which is, crazy. Because it feels like anytime we're in the playoffs, it's because of LeBron. But so it's crazy that we're doing this without him. Yeah, that being said, like when we hired Kenny Atkinson, I was like, okay. I didn't think it was much of an upgrade over JB Bickerstaff because, Atkinson got fired in Brooklyn during that whole disaster. He was an assistant coach with Golden State last year, which, it's Golden State, so that can certainly help you. But like I said, I didn't see it as much of an upgrade. That's not a slight against Kenny Atkinson, but I'm just like, it wasn't the name I was expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when the Mavericks hired Jason Kidd, was that who you were expecting it to be?
Whenever Rick Carlisle said that's who they should go get, that's when I knew it was pretty much a wrap. Especially with the way Mark Cuban ran the team at the time, like as far as other coaches getting interviewed, I just knew that was it. And Jason Kidd being the assistant coach for the Lakers at that time, it made sense. I mean, why not pair Luka with one of the best minds in basketball, right? And it's crazy to be like, oh well, Jason Kidd's just not good enough. Like, no, he did get us to a Western Conference Finals. He did get us to an NBA Finals. He is a good coach. I think if you were to rank coaches, I think if you were to say Jason Kidd is not a top 10 coach, then you're a little bit too harsh on him. I think Jason Kidd is top 10 at the very minimum.
You're talking about in the league right now?
In the league right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I would put Jason Kidd top 10 for sure. I'd probably have Kenny Atkinson in there. I would have Ime Udoka for Houston in there. Joe Mazzulla. Mark Dagnall, the head coach for the Thunder. I'm trying to think. Jamal Mosley for Orlando.
And the Clippers head coach, your former head coach.
Tyronn Lue.
Yep. He's got to be in there. Then you got Eric Spoelstra. I don't know if we're at 10 right now, but that's a pretty damn good list right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good good list right there.
And I mean, you could say Doc Rivers, but after all these blunders in the playoffs, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on with Milwaukee right now. But no, like it's interesting that like it's such mixed feelings with J. Kidd because he was part of your 2011 team that won your first championship. So I would think that would hold value. Like if LeBron, okay, maybe LeBron being our head coach is a bad example, but I'm trying to think of like if Richard Jefferson were to become our head coach, maybe that's not a great comparison, but you get what I'm trying to say there.
Right. So Max, like the player Jason Kidd is loved. There's nothing you can say bad about him. He started his career here. He came back and won a championship here. We have nothing but love for Jason Kidd, the player that was on the basketball court. And it has been difficult for myself as well because I always tell people Jason Kidd favors my brother. He looks like my brother. My brother wears the glasses, bald-headed like him, all that stuff. And, he's very player-friendly. My brother is very, how would I say, he gets along with everyone, man. Just a nice guy. So it's just like he favors my brother so much. My brother, older than me, right? He had all the masks, paraphernalia, and all that good stuff. He had Jason Kidd merch back in the day. And I'm just like, whenever I started having my issues with Jason Kidd on certain things that he does, be it inconsistency, rotations, this and that, it took so much for me to be like, I am mad at Jason Kidd right now. And then it took the year that we didn't even make the playoffs for me to get really upset. And then we went on a 6-game losing streak last year before we turned it around. I was almost on that fire Jason Kidd bandwagon. As a matter of fact, I probably was, because that's how upset I was. Because you can't have this great of a roster and have a 4, 5, 6-game losing streak. So for the sake of integrity, Max is really like, I have to put my fandom of him as a player and everything he did for us, and separate the two. Let me put this and let me compartmentalize Jason Kidd, the player, over here. Here's the coach over here, and here's how I'm gonna be unbiased when I criticize, assess, or talk about Jason Kidd, the head coach of the Mavericks.
That's fair. Because, like, I will admit, like, it's hard for me sometimes to separate, like, player from coach. So I'm a little bit different from you in that regard. So let's say LeBron were to become our head coach. I don't know if I could easily separate his player career from his coaching career the way you were just describing.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to just be able to survive as a fan, you would have to do it. You would have to, man.
Right.
You would have to separate them.
Yeah, which I understand. But it's always like a little confusing when these two teams play each other, because you've got Mavs and Cavs. Like,
Cavs, yeah.
Exactly. I expect a good turnout from Dallas fans at the game tomorrow. I mean, even though Luka's not playing, there's still going to be a lot of Luka jerseys, and there's going to be a lot of Kyrie jerseys, I would expect.
Yeah.
But plus, you're the defending Western Conference champions. So that certainly helps. And I like that we've had 2 days off to get ready for you guys, because, like I said, even though you're without Luka, that's still a lot, because you have PJ Washington, who's no slouch. You got Spencer Dinwiddie, who, as you mentioned earlier, can go off and start hitting three-pointers left and right. Klay Thompson is still Klay Thompson. Maybe not as much as he was in his prime, but he can still knock down a three-pointer. And, of course, you got Kyrie. So us having 2 days off, I'm like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, and we're coming off of a pretty bad loss against Detroit. Like, I was telling my base yesterday, like, you really need to get this Detroit win, because then you got Cleveland, Boston, Houston, and things of that sort. And so now we're going to go into the Cleveland game, and, obviously odds are not going to be on our side. You're going to have to find a way to outscore Cleveland, right? And I just don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, like, we've been having issues with our threes. Najee Marshall's been in and out of the lineup. He's been sick. Derek Lively's not going to play. We're trying to reincorporate Dante Exum. That's going to be a bit of an issue, because you're taking minutes away from someone. You're readjusting a roster. So I wouldn't say all be fearful of us, but there is some players on here like Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes can literally take over a quarter whenever he chooses to, or if he's allowed to. And I think it's just really going to come down to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's going to have to impose his will, and hopefully he's much more efficient. And I'm always big about efficiency. Taking 30 shots and you're only making 10 of them, you're more so hurting the team than you are helping them. So hopefully Kyrie can improve his efficiency. That way, the defense of the Cleveland Cavaliers has to adjust to him and force the ball out of his hands. And whenever that's happening and there's an easier pass to make, then that's when the shots start falling and things of that sort, and everyone else could get involved and participate against the Cavaliers. But it's going to be a tough task for us. Again, I'm pretty sure y'all going to win. But if we have a chance to beat y'all, it's going to come down to protecting the ball, because we've been very porous at that. We've protected the ball all year honestly, when Luka's there, we're one of the best teams to protect the basketball. We have some of the least turnovers.
It's crazy how much of a different team you guys are when Luka's
Oh,
not there.
and hey, Max, check this out. We might be better defensively when Luka is back. Now, that's how crazy that is. As crazy as it sounds. Because people will be like, oh, Luka's not that great a defender. Well, when you look at his ISO defensive stats, he's in the top 80 percentile in defending in isolation. So you get Luka back. You get Luka, obviously the offensive juggernaut that he is. You minimize bad offensive situations, and then you have a better defender back in the lineup. I mean, he just helps the team so much more. But yeah, man, yeah, we're really trying to just stay above water right now. So if we lose to Cleveland, we understand. We lose to Boston, we understand. But we got to try to win other games we know we could potentially win. And last night was one of the ones we should have won, and we didn't. And now it's like, all right, can we fight to just somehow beat the Cavs? And the only way to beat y'all is to minimize turnovers and be extremely efficient.
I will say this: the fact that this is a 3:30 Eastern tip time, and we have Boston on Tuesday. It makes me a little bit concerned about this game because I'm like, being that the Boston game is going to be gigantic because we're number 1 in the East, they're number 2. I'm a little concerned that, even though you guys have Kyrie and Klay and all the other players as we've talked about, and you're the defending Western champs, I get it. I'm a little concerned that, we might be overlooking you just that much and be looking ahead to that Boston game. I don't want to think that way, but I can't help but have that thought in the back of my mind. Are we going to overlook Dallas and just be circling that Boston game, knowing what could be on the line?
And that could be to our benefit, but also to your benefit. And again, you could ask the chat here in a second. Day games for the Dallas Mavericks are the worst games. We play poor when anytime there's a game before 4 p.m. Eastern time or Central time. If we're playing early in the day, afternoon, midday, we're not a good team for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Jason Kidd didn't have his coffee yet. I don't know if Daniel Gafford took his 5-hour energy. For some reason, when it comes to day games, we do not get up to play them. But last year against Denver, we had one of the probably best day games of the season for the NBA when Kyrie made that left-handed little sky hook to win the game. But other than that, if you look back at all of our day games, it's always pretty a rough performance. So I hope y'all not overlooking us, because if you are, y'all going to give us a chance.
I mean, I feel like it's a legit thing, being that, like I said, Boston's coming to town next. And as of right now, we've won 3 in a row. They've won 2 in a row, but they play they're at Philadelphia tonight. So we'll see if their winning streak continues.
And Philadelphia's found their way. They found their footing now.
Yeah, and you guys have to play them next in Philly.
Yeah, that's going to be rough.
So
I don't like this at all.
Yeah, you're on a bit of a road trip right now.
Yeah, 5 games.
Which started last night in Detroit, and then you got us, then you got Philly, Boston, and then you come home and play Houston. That's a rough schedule.
It was very rough. That's why the Detroit game was so important, and we didn't get that one. So we're going to either have to find a way to get one of these games against you guys, Philly or Boston. And for the interstate rival, you got to find a way to get that Houston game. It is that dire just to stay above 500.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because it's the hot topic right now. I know he wants to go to his preference is to go to Phoenix, but I've heard Mavericks fans talking about it also. When you play the Miami Heat on February 13th in Dallas, is there a chance Jimmy Butler is playing against his old team?
No, and we might be wearing face masks during that game against Miami. Nah, financially it's just impossible, Max. We would have to trade Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson, And now that Maxi's hurt, I don't even think you could trade a injured player. You would have to literally gut the Dallas Mavericks to get a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler on his team, and I just don't see us doing that. I don't think you trade for Klay and then trade him. I think that'd be a bad look for us in the league. And then Daniel Gafford, right now the way he's been playing, he's your most reliable center. There's no purpose to trade him either. So no, Mr. Jimmy Butler will either still be on suspension or he'll be probably playing for a different team, but he won't be playing for us.
I like this comment. Mobley cooked us last time, and we still have no backup big. I'm looking it up. Oh, yeah. Evan Mobley had 34 when we played you last time. So I have a feeling with no Derek Lively in there and basically you guys basically only having Daniel Gafford, unless Dwight Powell plays, I have a feeling Mobley's going to go off again.
Yeah, watch out for Kyler Kelly, man. That's our G League hero that we just signed. Nah, just total jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a great backup big. Our current starting big, he's not the greatest defensively. He's great at blocking shots, but not that great defensively, keeping up with his man. So if anyone's betting out there, you should take the over when it comes to Evan Mobley's points tomorrow.
Yeah. I would think it's going to be mostly Mobley and Mitchell because that seems to be where the majority of our offense comes from. But, Garland can get you 20 when he needs to, and Allen can go off for a double-double, no problem. But it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. And we've talked a lot about different aspects of this game. And I'm sure you don't want to see Max Strus with the ball in his hands in the final seconds if it comes down to it.
Right.
I'm thinking about torturing you and pulling it up. Here. I got you.
What you got?
Here you go. Oh, whoops. There you go, buddy.
Man, and this was such a crucial game too, and the fact that he hit the shot, insane. How was it? Were you watching this game, and what was your reaction when you saw it live?
So I actually work for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm going to be at the FieldHouse tomorrow.
Nice.
Working this game. So I'm on the promo team. So I'm out on the concourse running poster making stations. So Mavericks fans, if you're coming to the game, you're not going to be allowed to make a poster. If you want to make a Kyrie Irving poster, if you want to make a Klay Thompson poster, nope. No can do.
Oh, I got history with Klay too. Dang.
Yep. No Klay posters, no Kyrie posters.
I wish we were fully healthy. I wish we were fully healthy to give you a run for your money, man.
Yeah, I wish it too. Hopefully it doesn't come down to a Max Strus game winner. I don't need that stress. The Cavs seem to love stressing me out though. I don't know why. Them and the Browns both seem to enjoy giving me butterflies in my stomach. But then again, I'm less stressed about the Browns because I just figured they're going to lose anyway at this point.
Yeah.
But
I just wish we were healthy, man. If we had the full healthy team, I would feel a lot more confident. You probably hear me talking a little bit more braggadocious in here, but we are not. We're just trying to stay above water right now, man. That's really all we're trying to do.
Yeah. And this is the second and final meeting of the regular season between us. So after this, the only time we can meet is in the NBA Finals, which that would be fun. We didn't even talk about Mark Cuban not being part of the team anymore.
We don't need to. We're good. We have an actual GM now, and we have a new ownership group that's trying to bring gambling to Dallas. And so, yeah, man, it's a different world now without Mark Cuban.
Yeah. I've actually been to a Mavericks game in Dallas.
Really?
Yeah. Um, it was the second night after a back-to-back for Houston, actually, because they had played Sacramento the night before at home. And James Harden dropped 50 in that game against Sacramento. I think Houston ended up winning, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. But you got anything else? You want to do score predictions?
Now, I'll give you a quick story since you were in Dallas. I was in Cleveland back in 2018. I was out there for work, and I went to a Cleveland Cavaliers game, playoff game. It was against the Indiana Pacers. It was Game 5 against Indiana. The series was tied 2-2, and I'm pretty sure you remember that out of bounds play call where they give it to LeBron and LeBron pulls up from 3 and knocks it down. I was literally at that game losing my mind. So, yeah, that was a pretty awesome game to be at. But yeah, man, let's do predictions.
All right. I got the Cavs winning this game. I'll say it's a little bit lower scoring. I'll say 110-96.
Oh, that's quite low. That's quite low. I will say that the Cavs would win as well. I know people probably, you're so not math. It's just the reality of the situation. I do think the Cavs will win, but I think it'll be a little bit more high scoring just by looking at y'all's defensive numbers over the last couple of games. Y'all are giving up about 115 per 100 possessions. So I would say the Mavericks, Cavs will probably be like 132, 127, something like that. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Mavericks are going to fight. They're going to fight every single game. It just they won't have enough to get past the fourth quarter. Because if you look against Detroit last night, the fourth quarter was pretty bad for the Mavericks. So we probably just come up a little bit short towards the end of it, but it'll be a high scoring affair. I would think that or because it's a day game, it'll be a defensive struggle. One of the two. It's no middle ground. It's one of the two.
Yeah. Well, TGK, I appreciate you joining me to talk Mavericks against Cavaliers. A lot of fun talking about all different aspects of this game and whatnot. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the live chat. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you punch that subscribe button like a UFC fighter. I am currently at 665 subscribers. I am trying to get to 700. So if you could help me out with that, I would greatly appreciate it. I love doing these video collaborations because I get to talk Cavs and Browns, and I get to talk with opposing fans like yourself and learn about your team. And that's what makes these fun. So I appreciate it. And if I don't see you in the finals, we can try and set something up for next season.
Oh, for sure, man. Hey, I had a blast. Appreciate you having me on, man. And good luck to y'all the rest of the way. And hopefully we find a way to play each other in the finals for sure. That'll be fun.
And Mavericks fans, I'm going to stay in the Discord. I won't do too much trash talking tomorrow. I'll try to keep that to a minimum, I promise. But just know that I am a Cavs fan. But I'll keep the trash talk minimum tomorrow.
All right, we'll see. I'll see you in there, man.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, man, appreciate you having me on.
You're welcome.